So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I never kissed the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane, it's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall, I've come to take it all. I'll take it, I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall, I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. Storm's coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control it. My bones, I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. I send the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
Hey guys, happy Monday, October 30th. Hope you are all enjoying the Amazon Web Services outages today. What a freaking mess, man. What a mess. GameStop trading at 23.25. I have TBPN up on my upper monitor here, and we're waiting to have Ryan Cohen come on, allegedly, during market hours, which is kind of interesting. And I'm very curious what they are going to have to say, what questions they might have, what news, if any, Ryan might share that might be new to all of us, or is he just maybe starting to feel confident enough in the turnaround to do more of these interviews? Because, you know, we had, a couple interviews a few months ago, and now we have this one. I'd like to see and hear more from Ryan Cohen. I'd really like to hear some guidance on an earnings call. But this is encouraging, and I'm hopeful today. I'm not really, because it's in market hours personally, I'm not expecting any earth-shattering news, but I'm always happy to hear him get out and talk, and hopefully it goes well. Casey, good afternoon. Good morning to you there in California. Well, it's afternoon in California. Zachary, good afternoon. Anya, Jack Wolf, how you doing? John Y. JSN, good afternoon. Rubes, how you doing? John says, I have a genius idea for you to get your sub count up. Ryan's next interview should be with you. I actually was thinking about that last night, John. What would it hurt for me to send in a letter, a request to investor relations? If Ryan really is trying to get the word out, or, you know, engage with investors a little bit more, why not? He should do some YouTube interviews. It doesn't have to be with me, but hey, I'll throw my hat in the ring, so to speak. Why not? KC says that explains the lagginess of my company's website. Yeah, man. Karen, this morning, like just using the Webull app here to try and pull up my charts, I would type in a ticker and it wouldn't even pull the damn chart up. Sometimes if it did pull it up, it would be like a 1 minute lag. It seems to have gotten better since this morning, but right away this morning I was like, screw this. I'm just going to go to a movie. There's no point sitting here trying to trade when nothing is updating. Speaking of trading, let's look at a couple of other tickers while we're waiting on the top of the hour. And Ryan Cohen, GameStop at 23.27. AMC now is in the green. It was flat for most of the day. I updated some demand and supply zones on the AMC chart because it's a little crazy right now. And I've been doing a lot of talking with folks and thinking out loud on some ideas about what's going on with AMC. I also spent the morning updating my Q4 box office forecast. I don't know if I should have that chat with you guys on YouTube now or wait until October closes out. But in the Discord, we've already been talking about it. Already shared my thoughts. So yeah, I did revise the Q4 box office. I'll just share with you, you know, almost every movie that I had forecast for October, and I'm a pretty conservative forecaster. I'm not like the pumper forecasters. Even with my conservative forecast for October, almost every movie has missed by a mile, and that is upsetting to see. I wasn't expecting October to be great anyways, but when you already have a meager October and every single movie misses, it's not a good feeling. But we do have some good movies coming up starting around Thanksgiving. Beyond, oh, look at this. I did, by the way, for those of you wondering about Beyond, I did buy some Beyond, and I am well in the green now. Look at that. $1.53. Not a recommended trade. It's just for fun, speculative. The short squeeze, so they say. I'm just looking for a quick little something to make the day interesting. 88 cents this morning. The high today, $1.53, $1.35 right now. As we were talking about over the weekend, when it was down around 60, 65 cents, sometimes you get a nice little bump up once all the news is known, especially if retail or others start getting behind this narrative of a short squeeze. It was high short interest, and maybe all the bad news in the short term was priced in. You still got to be really careful. Like I'm not trying to buy beyond and hold it for a recovery. It's just simply a day trade or maybe a swing trade for me. Just for fun, very small position. I don't like to mess around and lose money on these companies flirting with imminent bankruptcy. But, you know, it's been a good trade so far today, up 109% on the ticker. Who says there's no good trades out there? Y'all are sitting around, messing around, waiting on these meme stocks to do something. And 100%, 109%. What's not to like? Trip Hazard, how you doing? Fat Stack says just bought 600 shares. Let's. Which one are we talking about? Fat Stacks. We're talking GameStop, AMC, Beyond, BYND. Wait. Rube says AA did a U-turn on the K-pop Demon Hunter. Oh yeah, they are showing it, but only in how many screens for AMC? 400, if I recall. 400 screens out of 9,000, 10,000. Like, it's a token gesture. I'd like to see it in every theater in AMC's fleet multiple times. What else do we got to go see right now? There's nothing to go see. We watched Black Phone 2 after I finished the live stream last night, Saturday night. Went and talked to the wife, and I said, you want to go to a late show? 11 o'clock, Black Phone 2. I was not planning on seeing Black Phone 2. But she said yes, and we were both hungry. So we went and watched the movie and got, what do we get? Fried mozzarella. It's not keto, don't hate. We shared everything. Fried mozzarella, we got some boneless wings, and she wanted a pepperoni pizza. And that movie was really, really good. I had no expectations going in. It was not on my list of like must-see movies, but I actually really enjoyed it. Kind of like a mix between Black Phone 1 and Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's see. How can I? Oh yeah. All right. So that's what we'll do. We'll put them up there in that box when I see Ryan come on. And hopefully they don't mind me. I did put a link to this YouTube stream down in the video chat. If you want to go watch it without any commentary or annoyance from me, that's fine. Oh, okay. He said he bought 600 GameStop today. All right. I'm hoping for some good news here. Fat Stacks. I still have my position, and I mostly think I probably should do a GameStop update video, but I mostly think without news, GameStop just trades sideways until the earnings, closer to earnings, and then we roll into Q4, which I think should be good. But I'm really looking forward to the next earnings date and call. In the meantime, Ryan or Keith, you know, any of y'all want to come out with some news and help the kids out, why not? Let's take it. Let's see, 51% of you say there will be news today, and 49% say no. So everybody's kind of split. Tish, how you doing? Grickles Minion, bring out Ryan Cohen. We still got these guys talking up here amongst themselves. Let's see how our little AI OTC ticker's doing. Not AMC, RLAIF. See, look at this. Look at this lag. Well, that wasn't too bad, only a few seconds. There's absolutely no volume on this ticker in the US. It is trading up on the Canadian market today. I saw last time I checked up 14%. But waiting on more news out of old Rail Town. GameStop at 23.29, up 1%. The warrants are trading at 296. And let's look at the daily volume on the warrants. That's pretty much exactly what we thought, you know, a flurry of trading in the beginning, and then once all the ETFs and the institutions that needed to sell sold, then you just get this more normalized volume. So trading right where it should be. Wild Wendell says, hopefully we get some acquisition news or something. Can they do that during market hours? I was kind of thinking that he can only do that after the regular market closes, but I'm not going to go to the mat and say that I'm right. Because I thought, you know, if you have material information, you have to disseminate it to all investors at the same time. And one could argue that not all investors know about this interview. You got to do the press release, the 8K, the company's investor relations page. You got to hit all those buttons at the same time. So that's why I'm not expecting any like non-material information, but maybe he shares, you know, some thoughts on how the Power Packs is going, maybe some updated thoughts on their investment policy, what they're doing with Bitcoin, what they might be looking at. We know from the warrant prospectus when it went out that GameStop said they have no active acquisition that they're working on. But maybe just a strategy update. That'd be cool too. Zachary says GameStop can buy Wendy's. GameSpot. Okay, GameSpot. Yeah, what is old Win doing? W-E-N. I was looking into Beyond this weekend and I didn't make it to Wendy's. It's freaking lag, man. Come on. Killing me. Forget it. Forget it. We're still waiting. I'm watching these guys up here. Rube says, Tony, remember there was a line that said GME is not actively about to release any news on mergers, acquisitions, but they didn't rule out any major partnerships. That's a fair point. Absolutely. JSN, maybe he will give a hint to DFV that he is waiting for a full tinfoil mode. We're waiting, Ryan. I'm watching the gentleman up on one of my upper monitors here, but so far no, Ryan. Now it's on a commercial. What was I? Oh, DFV. Correct me if I'm wrong. A little bit of group talk here. We know Ryan Cohen, he filed a 13G, was it? And then a 13GA on Chewy when he bought and then sold. He never filed anything with GameStop, right? Before GameStop increased the float by doing the split, he never filed any form. He never went over the 5% threshold. Am I right on GameStop. So I was having this conversation with someone a week or so ago, he was asking me if I thought Ryan Cohen sold his GameStop. Because if he did, if he had filed and then he sold, he'd need to file a exiting transaction like he did with Chewy. But, I think a fun debate, a fun argument is Roaring Kitty in this play right now or not? Will he come back or not? Henry says he's from Hong Kong. Ni hao. Ni hao, Henry. I've been to Hong Kong a few times. Back in my corporate life, I used to go over to Shanghai a lot and Xiamen, China. Spent a lot of time there, a lot of time in Taiwan. Often would go through Hong Kong on my way to China. Normally through Japan to get to Taiwan. And then eventually they got direct to Taipei. Anytime I had to do a connection through Hong Kong, I'd try and do it on like a Friday so I could spend the weekend before I had to be at work on Monday morning in whatever city I was going to in China. I miss Shanghai. I miss Hong Kong too. Both pretty cool modern cities. All right, I know it's late over there. I know. So as soon as I see Ryan, we're going to put him up on the screen. Get Rex says a partnership with Topps, Don Russ, or Panini would be cool. Hey, I'll take anything. I will take anything. Any news is good news. We need to move the dial here. Fidget Spinner says, what date was the last video? Remember he did the last interview he did with Charles Payne, and then that, not the same day, he had done one in the morning with CNBC that we didn't really like. It was Charles Payne, or was it Liz Clayman? Anyways, he did one with CNBC and then Fox, and the Fox one was much better. You can go back on my channel and see, I don't know when that was, a month ago, see the highlights of those. John says perhaps power packs will be available to all after today. Is there some of y'all that still can't access it? Cancel Bubble says, I don't even like leaving my house to get the mail. The Bund at Shanghai is bucket list stuff. Yeah, I forget which hotel over in the Bund. There was one that the American and European business folks would stay at often. Here we go, Ryan Cohen. And I stayed there a couple times, but I mostly stayed at the Hyatt right there by the river, I guess you call it. It was like a, I don't know, 100-story building with the hotel up on the top floors with a beautiful view. Let's get the audio going here. They're talking about bringing Ryan on.
Would love to kind of get the high level, just to set the stage.
Where do you want to start?
Maybe the original idea. Like, when did you think you'd become involved with this company?
I originally invested as a passive investor.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few conversations with the management team and the board of directors, and I realized that saw a lot of stuff that you read about, but you don't really believe until you actually engage with them. And as we went through conversations, I went from passive to active, and filed the 13D, I believe, in August of 2020, and then I joined the board in January of 2021. And the rest is history. The long story short is there's been a lot of changes at the company. a lot of cost cutting,
Yeah.
a lot of rationalization, focusing on the basics of running a profitable business. And a lot of it was getting people out of the way. A board of directors that had perverse incentives, a management team that had perverse incentives. Ultimately, what you see is that when people don't have their own money on the line, they don't give a shit. And they're focused on all kinds of other stuff that ultimately doesn't matter to shareholders. And a lot of it was getting that out of the way so that we could actually focus on the business. And, you see it in the results of the business today versus where it was, not just when I joined the board, but, you look at the results even prior to that. It's a tough business.
Yeah, totally. Well, what do you think the mainstream media gets wrong about the GameStop story today, or has gotten wrong throughout the whole saga?
Everything. Right now? Right now, everything.
That's not an easy question to answer because we're talking in generalities, and
Sure.
I don't want to I can't stereotype. In general, everyone thinks they know. The mainstream media thinks they know. I'm running the business, and they seem to have greater visibility into the business than I do. So everyone has an opinion as opposed to actually just focusing on the results. And in general, the news should just focus on the results instead of comments from the peanut gallery.
Ooh,
Yeah, let's talk about
gallery
Q2
line.
specifically. What made that one of the biggest quarters in years?
It's a focus on running a business like an owner and cutting costs and making money and leaning into the areas of the business where there's margin potential, just trading cards, and then getting rid of the bloat. As an example, I was just looking at this earlier today before we spoke. 2021, there were over 1,400 people in corporate.
Wow.
Today, there's like 400 people.
Wow.
See, this is
we're
the
more
kind of conversation I want to
today
hear
than
from
we were
AMC. Where's the cuts at
2021.
corporate? Adam Aaron?
SG&A has come down by like 50%. So
That's what, yes.
people build
Ryan,
teams,
yes.
they hire people. Ultimately, what that means is they delegate their work to someone else. You end up taking on this crazy cost structure, and it works when the business is growing, but doesn't work well once the business stops growing. And that's where GameStop was. And physical retail is tough.
Yep. How much of that corporate restructuring, going from, I think you said 1,400 people down to 400, how much of that is just reorienting around players, aligned incentives, picking the best person to actually run a specific
getting rid of
initiative
corporate
versus
bloat,
using
which always
technology, using
happens.
software,
Bloat
using AI?
happens.
Is there any sort of narrative around that you've found success with?
It's both. Even finding the right people, though, you don't know. I mean, I've been interviewing people for a long time, and you meet people, I meet them, and I get really excited because they're really good at the interview process and they know how to say the right thing. So what does that mean? It means they've got really good public speaking skills, so they over-index there. And then you actually, when you look at their execution skills,
Not for
they're
long.
not great. So
Not for long.
I've been as equally excited as people that I've hired that have worked out as I have been of people that I've hired that I wasn't excited about. And then they proved to me that they can actually execute. So, the results speak for themselves. You really only know once you put someone in the position and you see what they're capable of. They can tell a great story. They can put together a great PowerPoint presentation, but you don't actually know until you see what they can actually do. So there's no question that artificial intelligence and just broadly speaking, technology has increased productivity. That's been a big benefit, and then doing more with less.
Yep.
You take a $0 salary, you have billions of dollars of cash on hand. How do you plan to allocate it over the next 2 to 3 years? I don't want to go too long.
Yeah, that is what we want to know, Ryan.
There's we don't have a gun to our head, so it needs to be a situation where the downside is limited and the upside is really high, and that's a different calculus than the world of private equity or venture capital or any money managers where
For
they're
you guys and me,
incentivized to
that
deploy
means
capital because they get
we need to have
management
the right
fees.
level
In
of
this
patience.
case, a fancy way of saying is that it's risk adjusted, and I don't want to lose money, and I want a situation where there's a good chance of making money and a really low chance of losing money. So it needs to be a pitch that is pretty much down the middle.
Does that mean you're waiting? You're waiting for a crash?
You never know what's going to happen in the financial markets. They can go from green to red, and they don't flash yellow. So when that happens, we'll be in a position. But
yeah, I just feel like it's notable that you have all these digital asset treasury companies that are just market buying obscene amounts of Bitcoin and other tokens, and you guys are taking a longer view.
Yeah, definitely.
What are you excited about in the core business over the next few years between retail, online? You mentioned trading cards. Can you unpack a little bit more about some of the key initiatives, like the customer behaviors that you see as really big opportunities?
I tried a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. So I originally went in with the Chewy playbook. Was we focused first on consumables. So we had a lot of success on pet food, treats, litter, things that you could put on auto ship. And then it went from focus on consumables, getting customers on auto ship, to we're going to be the everything pet store, and we're going to expand our catalog, and we're going to add all these hard goods. So I had all these preconceived biases where I was going to copy the Chewy playbook at GameStop and basically be like the everything store for gaming. And I hired a bunch of fancy people from both Amazon and Chewy, and we expanded the catalog, and we added a bunch of product, and most of that product didn't sell, and we ended up marking it down and taking a big hit, and it cost shareholders a lot of money. Because once you have the product trapped in stores, you got to mark it down in order to move and get it out of the stores. Whereas within the consumable space, if we ever overbought inventory, we just waited and ultimately bought too much cat food or whatever, it ended up selling. Yep. So physical retail is very, very, very different than e-commerce. Yep. And I spent a lot of money to figure that out. And so what I learned is that we went into all these categories, and a lot of we took some significant hits on losing money. We lost money. It's that simple. By trying to expand into all of these categories that were not core to the GameStop customer. And then along comes collectibles, and obviously after expanding into categories where there's very little success, your risk appetite at that point is pretty low. All of a sudden, we see that they're like the GameStop customer. Yep. Really, when it comes to trading cards, there's a strong appetite for trading cards. And that category has done very well. And we've gone from like 10% of our sales to over close to a third probably for the full year is going to come from collectibles. And
that's remarkable. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the collectibles thing. Let's table that for a second. I'd love to know more about where you see the traditional video gaming market going. I'm experiencing kind of whiplash because I see mobile games and free to play growing and micropayments happening. EA is getting taken private. You have a lot of stuff going on that end, but then you also have Palmer Luckey kind of bringing back the Game Boy and the N64 with Chromatic. And I know you're partnering on that. What are you excited about? What does the shape of the traditional sort of like video game market look like over the next couple of years?
The video game market is definitely going from physical to digital. So our ability to play in the digital world is limited. There's a lot of money that's being spent, and we've taken a CapEx light approach, like a pretty risk light approach to the digital world. If there's not a clear path to us being able to make money and a payback period that's pretty attractive, then this isn't a story of like moonshots.
Sure.
So there's no moonshots that are being done. Like we're focused on real returns.
Yep. What about wearables, virtual reality? We heard a story about the Meta Quest or the Meta Ray-Ban displays, and a friend of ours went and had to test them at Best Buy and didn't have a great experience. And it feels like if we do enter sort of like a wearable era, there's a renewed demand for in-store experiences. Is that on your radar at all, or is that more of like a futuristic thing that you'll deal with it when it comes down the pipe?
I mean, when I think about wearables, the Apple Watch is a good product. When I think about the Meta Quest, I mean, it's a joke.
Okay.
All of the virtual reality stuff doesn't feel like who's going to walk around with these retarded glasses on their head? Like, it's just, it does not seem like that's the future. But if we could sell a product and we can make really high margins, then obviously we're going to sell the product. But we're not investing in virtual reality or in the metaverse unless there's a clear path to being able to deliver results for shareholders.
Yeah. I meant more just as like Apple does have the Apple Store network. Other companies that are trying to get into wearables and might need in-store demos don't have one of those. But I mean, your rationale makes a ton of sense.
It's so interesting to think about when I hear you talk, Ryan, it's your everything you say aligns with thoughtful capital allocation.
Yes.
And yet the broader world seems to believe that this is just about being, it doesn't.
It's moonshots.
There's CEOs out there that have effectively meme stocks, and they just act and talk a lot differently than you do.
No, this is refreshing.
What do you think about some of the conversations? There's been, I guess, rumors that the admin is interested in companies moving to biannual reporting instead of quarterly reporting. Do you think that's smart? What kind of moves from the admin this year have you been particularly interested in?
I like reducing costs. So if it costs us less money than to report biannually, then by all means. I think it's important for shareholders to have visibility into how the company is doing and then making a determination whether they want to stay invested or not. But if we have an opportunity to reduce our costs, I mean, so it costs a lot of money to be a public company.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money on audit fees. So that hurt me at Chewy, that hurts me at GameStop. They charge us a lot of money. So if it ultimately means we spend less money on being a public company, and it makes us more efficient, then that's fantastic.
I didn't mention it, but thank you for Chewy. I've been a subscriber for probably a decade. It's been the backbone of my household. My dogs thank you as well. I'm interested to hear your take on kind of evolution of e-commerce. There's a lot of chatter about agentic commerce and people buying through products through their chat apps. Have you looked into that? Do you have a current framework for thinking about the adoption rates of people buying stuff through an LLM?
Amazon started selling pet products in the late 90s, and they were doing okay. Chewy comes along. We originally wanted to start off selling jewelry. We actually bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. I went to a trade show and I bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. We set up the website and everything. And then I was shopping in a neighborhood pet store, and I had at the time, like a 5 or 6 pound teacup poodle. And I kept on going to this neighborhood pet store every few weeks. And I run into the office. By the way, I don't wear jewelry, so I was not passionate about the category. I didn't know anything.
That's important.
But I went to this trade
like you were just kind of you were just picking like this seems like a good high business. And it's light. You can ship.
Yeah, it was a little too mercenary. Like you got to get into the build something that you want, so you can give yourself feedback.
Yeah, but you think like your intuition is like there's margins in jewelry, and so like you could make money. There was a Blue Nile at the time that had really high gross margins, and I was like, we can do well in online jewelry. Anyway, I went to this jewelry trade show. I bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, and then I was shopping kind of at the same time every few weeks at this neighborhood pet store for my poodle. And I was way more interested in the pet category than I was in jewelry. I understood the customer. And so I ended up selling the jewelry. I ended up getting like 80 or 90 cents on the dollar. And I went into the pet category, and I liked that. I understood it. I liked the predictability of the industry. I like the fact that like once you're a pet owner, you're buying pet food pretty much for the rest of your life. And we shifted. And so Chewy comes along. It's 2011, and I took the playbook from Amazon, so the focus on fast shipping, having great selection, being able to get onto the website, add an item to the cart, and check out. Our average checkout time was like less than 2 minutes.
Wow.
So, you think about like GoDaddy, and I don't know if you've ever bought a domain name, but you go through the checkout process. They're trying to upsell you on like a gazillion stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Chewy is like average checkout time less than 2 minutes. We're not trying to upsell you. It's like, we're going to get you your pet food as fast as possible at the best price. So Chewy comes along in 2011 and completely disrupts the industry.
Yeah.
And we disrupted the independents. We disrupted Petco and PetSmart. And we were delivering your consumables at a better price, faster, with an easier experience, backed up by great customer experience. And so you don't necessarily have to be first to the game in order to be successful. Amazon was first to the game, but we focused on the category and we were successful. And so it's kind of what's interesting in technology in general is like you have these technology companies that are trying to do everything, right? Amazon's trying to do streaming. They're trying to do e-commerce. They're trying to do everything. And then all of a sudden you have Netflix that is really successful in streaming. You have Chewy that's really successful in pet food.
Yeah.
So if you focus on a category, you could be very successful.
How did you process the D2C e-commerce era? It was like really hot in Silicon Valley. Every MBA was raising venture capital, slap a $250,000 brand on a white labeled product and raise some money. And then it kind of fizzled out. But like, how were you processing that at the time? What's your post-mortem? Like, how should people think about building brands going forward? Is there still opportunity?
For us, building brand was acquiring one customer at a time and making sure that they got their pet food or whatever the hell they ordered from us, best price, really quickly. That's how you build a brand. It's not spending a bunch of money on, pets.com, a Super Bowl commercial. It is focusing on the best marketing is word of mouth. Yeah. So you allow a customer through word of mouth, you have a great customer experience, you deliver the product really quickly at a great price, and you have a happy customer. And that was the way to build Chewy, was getting big market leadership and making sure that customers were really happy.
What are the three key lessons from Chewy that you feel like you and the GameStop team are applying today?
Running efficiently. There's no question that we ran a focus on Chewy was, they're so different. Thing is you think e-commerce and physical retail are the same, and that's where I made a lot of mistakes, because I showed up like a wise guy at GameStop. I thought I had all the answers, but e-commerce and physical retail are very, very different. Yeah. So in general, within physical retail, what I've learned is you have to run lean, and you're better off having less inventory than more inventory. So, I cost shareholders a lot of money by taking the Chewy playbook at GameStop. And then I learned physical retail, which was a muscle that I had zero memory. And it was on making sure that when you get the product, you sell it very, very quickly. Because if you don't, the product depreciates very quickly. Whereas with Chewy, if I overbought, I sold the product very quickly, it didn't matter. So they're not the same. Yeah, they're not the same. The reason why, in general, both concepts have worked out is because, you keep on. I have my own money on the line, so I'm not going to stop until I figure it out. And
you're him,
but it costs a lot of money to figure it out.
Skin of the game. The man's in the arena.
People have said you're
Amen.
too. Yeah. People have said you're too bold as a CEO. Do you think the traditional concept of a buttoned up CEO that maybe shies away from controversy is obsolete or should be forgotten?
I don't even know what a CEO means. At the end of the day, I want whoever's in charge. If it ends up successful, they end up doing really well. And if it ends up not being successful, they lose a lot of money. And call me the janitor for all I care. At the end of the day, their incentives should be aligned with common shareholders. So that's the most important thing, is that the incentives are generally aligned.
Yeah, you're the loudest shareholder.
Yeah.
How do you decide? How do you decide what battles to fight? Because you got a lot of stuff coming your way at any given point, a lot of opportunity. What's your framework?
My framework is what's going to move the needle. Mm-hmm. If we can make 80% margins, but the upside is limited and it's not going to move the needle, then I don't care. If it's able to translate into billions of dollars of shareholder value and it's scalable, then we're talking. So there's a lot of things that are small time, and we can make a lot of margin, but there's not a lot of upside in terms of shareholders, then who cares? But if it translates into something meaningful and scalable, then I'm interested.
Do you think Power Packs could be that?
What do you think?
Well, the chat is going crazy.
It seems like
they
it.
want to know. They want the update from your side.
Power Packs is interesting. Power Packs, physical and digital, is very interesting. We can't get enough inventory, so
that's always a good sign.
I don't want to say anything because users can.
Do you see
customers
it as
can figure out for themselves?
Yeah. Do you see it as the same sort of like it's more consumption focused, so it fits within the Chewy model, or is that the right way to think about this, as opposed to you're there's less risk of getting stuck with a bunch of inventory?
Are we talking physical or digital?
Physical, I would imagine, would be like the place where there's inventory risk in some regard. But if you view it as more of a consumption product, then like the Chewy story, there's presumably less risk in holding a bunch of inventory.
I like the trading card space.
Okay.
So we have GameStop has a lot of assets. We have the community and the brand that allows us to, if you look at digital Power Packs, we've kept it pretty limited in terms of being able to get into the digital category. And frankly, it's not a marketing thing. We can't get enough inventory. And it's the same thing on the physical thing. But digital is more scalable. So if we had a choice between physical and digital, because digital is more scalable, we're going to go towards digital. Can't get enough inventory, at least at a price where we can. You can buy inventory at 110 or 120% market value, but we're not gonna start doing stupid stuff like that.
How do you see the collectibles landscape evolving over the next 5 years? It feels like different players have picked a focus, whether that's live, traditional auctions, something like you just discussed as well. But like, what is the shape of the market going forward in your view?
They're all connected. Like, if you look at the overall collectible space, it's looked at as a store of value. And it's been that way for decades. If you look at trading cards, it's like nostalgic too. I grew up, I collected trading cards a little bit, but there's definitely a comeback right now on trading cards. So it's looked at as a store of value. Whether that continues or not, who knows? Everyone is like, well, it's going to continue. Everyone thinks crypto is going to continue. Nobody knows.
Yep.
But we're having a lot of success when you look at our assets right now. Like the way it stands right now is we're selling the product very quickly. We can't get, the more inventory we have, we could sell the product. So we're going to run efficiently, and if we can sell the product, great. And if it happens where we can't sell the product, then we're going to adjust. And, we're going to lower our costs and going to focus on the things that make sense.
Do you have a take on Labubu? I feel like if I find out about it, I'm ultra late, and I might have top-ticked it when I finally learned about that. But it seems like it's somewhat important to the collectible boom, the story there. Do you have any idea what's going on?
Do we sell Labubu right now? I don't think we sell Labubu.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, it's like kind of an odd strategy. It has some of the unboxing characteristics, very popular. It seemed like it just kind of emerged out of China, out of nowhere. I was wondering if you had tracked the market at all.
No. Should we sell it?
I don't know. It might be too late. I have no idea.
They're very demonic in our view.
We think they kind of just don't have the right vibe, and I feel like there's plenty of other collectibles that would be more on brand. Personally,
how do you?
What was that?
Is it females or males?
I don't know.
I think it's all sorts of people buying them.
I saw Tim Cook had one, so I don't know if that tells you.
Okay.
How are you thinking about? How do you think about M&A on in the collectibles space? I'm sure people come to you all the time with sort of platforms that maybe have some scale, but not quite the scale that you have that would love to sell to you. But obviously, companies are bought, not sold. So I'm curious if it's something that you would explore in the future.
They don't come to us as often as you think, because they know, they probably go to private equity or venture capital or these fancy hedge funds before they come to us, because I want to make sure that I care about cash flow and the price that I pay. So we don't, we see some deals, but it's hard to compete against guys that are, or girls, whatever, that are getting management fees.
Do you think do you think AI plays into the collectibles world at all? Just this idea that, like, if you have a piece of IP, you can instantiate it maybe much quicker across a whole host of images and videos and kind of build out an intellectual property world faster. Is that actually an accelerant to the collectible trade?
In general, I'm the person that's very cynical when it comes to emerging technologies.
Sure.
So, like autonomous driving as an example, like everyone was like GM, Ford, all of the big OEMs, they're finished because there's going to be autonomous driving. Oh, it's when it comes to AI, it's a big problem. At some point, the computers are going after the humans. And I don't think it's that far away. I think that the sci-fi movies, when it comes to AI, I feel it. I feel like there's going to be a big problem when it comes to artificial intelligence. And at some point, it's going to be the computers against the humans, China versus the US. Who's going to be the winner? Who the fuck knows? But we got big problems with AI, and it's interesting because you can't stop human innovation, and we've got this insatiable appetite to go into these technologies like artificial intelligence that are very disruptable. There's lots of money that is being poured into it. But what the future looks like, we have to be very, very, very careful. So artificial intelligence, it scares me. I mean, I like the productivity benefits, but AI, once the robots come after us, scares me.
What's your timeline there?
It's faster. It's faster than I would have thought. When I look at what's happening, I don't buy into emerging technologies. But when I look at the advancements in AI, this is no joke. And we have to be very, very, very careful about what's going to happen in artificial intelligence.
Where do you think we are in the market cycle? Do you think it's 1999, February of 2000? Is that even worth comping to, or do you comp to something else?
In AI, it feels early. Doesn't feel like we're at the end. It feels like we're like the second or third inning, but who the hell knows? But at a high level, I think that I think we have to be very careful. When you think about the future of humanity and whether AI is going to benefit the future of humanity, I don't know. I would, if I was running a dictatorship and someone made me king, and you told me, should we move forward with this technology? It's not clear to me whether moving forward with AI is going to benefit everyone. It's definitely going to benefit the few that are invested in the industry, but there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to benefit from artificial intelligence. So,
but
I don't know.
If ChatGPT is depending on paid users right now, they can't, if they killed off humanity, that'd be kind of bad for business. Isn't there a way to solve that alignment issue?
If you look at the tractor trailer, the U.S. in the 1800s, and the tractor trailer, I think it was like 80% of the population was working on the farm. And then all of a sudden, tractor trailer comes along, and a few centuries later, it's like 2 to 3% of the population is working in farming. And you would have said, how the hell can the U.S. economy adapt to something that's so disruptive? And we did. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, I feel like it's different. Maybe I'm biased from some of these sci-fi movies, but there's going to be a lot of wealth inequality that's created. I don't like it. I mean, there's opportunities to be had. There's no question about it. But is it better for humanity in aggregate, AI? What do you think?
Well, I think for me, I think it's very straightforward to imagine the dark sci-fi timeline, but it feels farther away. I mean, at least in our corner of the internet, people have been reacting to Karpathy's interview with Darkesh that was, I think, went live Thursday night, and it feels like the debate right now is AI frontier lab progress slowing down? Is it just autocomplete, and if it's autocomplete and we don't have, if the rate of progress is slowing down, is there massive overinvestment right now? And what I'm hearing from you is simultaneously, generally kind of the doomer point of view, which I think is fair, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like if you were running a hyperscaler, you'd be ramping up CapEx right now.
Are we smart enough as a society to understand what the benefits are and what are the downsides? And everyone has perverse incentives. So someone who's in the AI industry is going to tell us how AI is the best thing since sliced bread. But in general, as a society, if you think across like human evolution over centuries, do I want to take this emerging technology and is this going to benefit the human population in aggregate over the long term? It's TBD. What happens when AI becomes smarter than us?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Do you think the solution's government intervention, just good stewardship by the leaders of the foundation model labs? Like, who actually has the responsibility of stewarding the new technology most effectively?
It's governments, and it's ones who have a long tenure. You look at America, the presidential cycle is 4 years. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's necessarily long-term incentives.
Yeah.
But who cares about where humanity is going to be, not in 4 years from now, not when they check out, but in 100 years from now? Who's got a long-term focus on this emerging technology, and who cares about humanity over centuries? But we have to be very, very careful about this technology.
What was your view on social media a decade ago? It was quite popular for a period to say that social media was destroying humanity, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We seem to have found a way through. But is your view that AI is as bad as people once maybe thought social media would be? Like what specifically, when you think about, one of the things we laugh about internally is just how easy it is to clock when somebody uses AI to generate like a cover letter or a job application, right? It's like a really good way to just get your cover letter application ignored is just to generate it with ChatGPT. It's just beyond obvious, and I'm sure your team has seen a lot of this too. But I'm curious, like, what do you think before we get to the sci-fi doomer scenario where the computers rise up and destroy us all? What's kind of like the immediate impact that you're worried about?
Social media is one of the worst things that happened to humanity. If you look at Instagram, people are so easily manipulated. They filter videos, they filter pictures. You look at these young people, their expectations, their lack of work ethic. China has censored all of this stuff for good reason, because it's so easy to manipulate the layman. And so in general, when I look at social media, I say, well, has it benefited humanity or has it been toxic? So there's no question that social media is toxic. AI clearly will increase productivity, but at what cost? At what cost? I think we have to be very, very careful.
When public company CEOs talk about how much efficiency they're getting out of AI, do you think that they're actually getting efficiency out of AI, or do you think they're just pushing their teams harder to be more efficient, and they want to blame the impact on AI?
It's both. It's both. But AI, without question, increases productivity. But, again, it's short-term versus long-term. So if you're running Johnson & Johnson or Procter & Gamble, and you can use artificial intelligence and you could reduce your cost structure because you've got all these humans that are doing these mundane tasks, and all of a sudden you realize the computers are going to do it better. Well, duh, you're going to reduce your cost structure. But all of a sudden, when you have all of these people that are unemployed and the demand for your product goes away, what's better? You want to keep people employed and have some kind of self-worth and working hard and making money? Or do you want to replace them and give them universal basic income? And then what does that mean? Does your consumption and demand for your product in aggregate go up or go down as a result of artificial intelligence? I don't know, but one thing I know for certain is that the CEOs, if they can reduce their cost structure in the short term, they're going to take computers over humans. But is that better for humanity over the long term? You tell me. Everyone on UBI over the long term, how does that make them feel? People need a purpose.
You don't think we'll create new jobs? I mean, we created email jobs. A lot of them could go away and the world wouldn't be too much different.
Artificial intelligence feels different.
Yeah, I just wonder if we could compete on other things.
It feels different.
Like we could still have hierarchies and competitions on things that only humans can do. I mean, we already do this with sports and all sorts of things. There's probably still some sort of like reproductive battle to try and get to the top of the stack, even if you don't need to go and work to make money. There are still other things that you do with your time to raise your status in society. But I don't know. It is a bizarre future to think about. I just wonder if it's 5 years, 10 years, 50 years away.
We're in an era of instant gratification. That's the American system. is that now. Innovation, making money today, but when you think about 10, 20, 30 years from now, and artificial intelligence, what does the world look like? It's not about job displacement. It's not about control. But is artificial intelligence going to control us? Or will we control artificial intelligence?
And you would argue that social media already controls how we feel day to day. We open our phone and decide our mood based on what's happening in faraway places that we have nothing to do with.
Social media is a big problem.
It's so
easy. If you look at the divisiveness in this country, social media, whether you're a conservative, you go on Instagram and you're conservative, and then all of a sudden you get, these algorithms serve you all kinds of things that are going to make you mad. And if you're a liberal, you all of a sudden go on social media and you see all kinds of media that's going to make you mad. Yeah. Why is it that ultimately humanity, it comes down to why do we have to lose something in order to appreciate? Well, it feels like the only neutralizer is death and war. Doesn't have to be that way, but it feels like the only way we can ultimately appreciate something is if we actually lose it. And it's very, very, very sad, but that's what it comes down to. There's so much indivisiveness in America. If we can just all come together and figure out things that we both agree on, but instead we figure out the reasons why we're going to be divided, and the politicians divide us. And
well, I think a lot of people have agreed. A lot of people on social media have agreed that they like you a lot. So there's one white pill in there.
Yeah, there's some.
Until they don't.
Well, hopefully it doesn't.
Do they like me over the long term? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
True leadership is not about dividing people. It's figuring out how do we bring people together over the long term that benefit humanity.
Yeah. How do you apply that sort of thinking to video games? Because there was a lot of fear mongering about violent video games causing kids to become violent. The government did step in and regulate video games with the ESRB. Every game is given a rating, and young kids, they can figure out a way to get access to some violent video games, but it's, parents are more in control now. And I feel like we more or less got the good outcome, and people can enjoy video games responsibly. And of course there's some negative scenarios, but in general I feel like video games have been just like a cool medium for artists to tell stories. There's wide variety of experiences. It feels like we as humanity got through that test, and whereas maybe we're still in the middle of the fight for positive social media, and maybe just at the beginning of the fight for positive AI outcomes. What lessons should we take from how humanity dealt with video games?
I think the Chinese have restricted their children from playing video games. I let my kids play video games. Doesn't benefit unless they're playing Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But you look at these Call of Duty, they're killing each other. I want positive influences. I want things that are healthy. I want things where people are going to learn. Mm-hmm. Blowing someone's head off, exposing it to young people, governments, you look at America, it's the land of the free. It's great. It works well for immigrants because they come from places where it's shit, and they come to America, they have all this freedom and their gratitude. They're grateful. But then you look at people where they don't necessarily have that level of gratitude, and they come to America, you give them all this freedom and they destroy themselves. So do I want my kids going and playing Call of Duty, blowing each other's heads off? And then you look at the Chinese and they're restricting the ability to play video games. And you say, well, they're censoring versus we're free. Well, what's better for humanity? Having boundaries and having rules, or just letting people do whatever the hell they want, destroy their lives?
Have you ever thought about getting into politics?
I was born in Canada.
There are some positions you could still run for.
Which ones? Senator?
Yeah, I think you could be. I don't know if you can be senator, but you could be maybe mayor, right? Isn't the mayor of New York not born in America? Or going?
What is it? There was this saying I heard.
You could be city councilman, maybe.
Yeah, because they'd kill me.
Well, you could go to
They'd kill
Canada.
me.
You could be prime minister of Canada.
Ugh. Too honest. I'm too honest.
You're too
I'd have
honest.
to be full of shit. I'd have to be sure. They couldn't handle me. They couldn't handle me. Politicians, they're like diapers. They start to stink. They start to stink very quickly. I couldn't play the bullshit.
No.
So you want to tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing that game of what they want to hear. But when it comes to artificial intelligence and social media in general, is it beneficial to society and to humanity as a whole? I don't like him. I don't like him.
That's extremely honest.
Humor confirmed.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a really great interview. Thanks so much for calling.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else
to
that we
share?
missed?
You know, we'd love to. Anything else that you're working on that we didn't touch on? We'd love to talk about.
You guys got anything else?
I think we're good.
Last question. What's your relationship like with Roaring Kitty? You guys talk much?
Ask him.
Okay. Yeah, we'd love to have him on the show. Maybe we'll
Get him on the show.
That'd be a lot of fun. He's
Yeah.
you know, we're pretty new to the live streaming thing. I always enjoy talking to people who operate in the same medium, and so
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll have a
tell
good conversation.
Yeah. We don't want day traders. We want.
Yeah.
I'll have a conversation with him if he's focused on decades and centuries, not on making a quick buck.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
I like it.
Well, yeah. Well, we're rooting for you for the next decade, for the next century, for the next millennia. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This was fantastic.
Yeah, great
Talk to you
chatting,
soon.
Ryan. Cheers.
Okay.
Have
Bye,
a good
guys.
one. Bye.
Wow. So, I mean, some people are going to say, Tony, he doesn't want you because you swing trade. Yes, I agree. And I have been telling you guys, if you are in GameStop, you just heard Ryan, he wants you there for decades because he's got a long-term plan. He's not trying to pump the stock, moass the stock, skyrocket the stock. He's being very slow, deliberate, strategic. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you, the investor, are okay with it, you know, having 8.7 billion in cash and a company that's not losing money is a pretty good position to be in. But if you're one of these people that are reading the AI slop on X promising MOAS tomorrow every single day, or listening to the YouTube channels who are saying the same thing, that is not what this CEO is working on. So you need to adjust your game plan. You need to adjust your game plan, I think. And the reason he didn't want to say anything about Keith Gill, I think, is very interesting. I think Ryan Cohen doesn't want to say, I've never talked to him. That's what I think. I've never talked to him, and I only will talk to him if I know he's a long-term investor. And We don't know. We don't even. I think Ryan knows that Roaring Kitty is not in GameStop anymore, is what I think. He sold his GameStop, bought Chewy, made money on Chewy, sold his Chewy. Maybe he's back in GameStop now. I'd love to hear that news. Keith, Roaring Kitty, if you're out there, let us know. But wow, this interview was all over the place. Got into politics, got into AI, China versus US. Not a lot about GameStop, which is really what I was hoping to hear. I'm in, my cost basis is just barely over 21 bucks. I'm comfortable with that. I know it's slightly overvalued. If I do a strict earnings-based analysis, I get it. I'm not here telling you buy GameStop because it's a deal at $23. So that is not the basis of my channel. I'm looking for relatively safe entry on speculative swing trades. There are other channels that will tell you buy every day at any price because it's going to $1,000 tomorrow. That is not this channel. There are profit opportunities for GameStop if you're nimble, if you're intelligent about your entries and intelligent about your exits. And I'm very bullish on GameStop long term. They're set up well, but you must be much more patient than these fucking pumper channels pushing out this rockets today, rockets tomorrow nonsense. This is not the same play anymore. You got $4 billion in convertible bondholders. Now you got warrants. You got all sorts of dilutive overhead, and half the share, $4 billion of institutional investors that have incentives that are not aligned with you. They're running their own game. They're running volatility trades. They're running delta hedging. You better start understanding this stuff. And people get mad at me for trying to explain it to you, and they will double talk their way all around it to say I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. They don't want to admit it to you because they will lose their audience, the MOAS tomorrow audience. There's nothing wrong with GameStop. There is something definitely wrong with these people that are doing rockets tomorrow videos every day. No, you're praying for a miracle. And there is way too much institutional money. This is not the same investor base that was owning GameStop in 2021. The incentives of a bondholder are not the same as a retail stockholder. The incentives and the motivations. Still could run up to what? 28, 29, 32. Every time it gets close to those targets, you have dilutive overhang. Those bondholders, if they convert, they're not going to hold the stock. And even if they do, you're increasing the float. So you better have a hell of a catalyst to push it sustainably through that. That's really why my thesis comes down to what is the one thing that could be the catalyst? The one thing is Ryan Cohen finds the deal of a century and invests his money in something that dramatically changes GameStop's earnings, where we can revalue the stock. Show me earnings per share that justify a $40 price. Then we can have the conversation. That potential's there, but we're not there right now. Courtney, yeah, liquidity is moving differently now for this stock. I think it's going to be, we're going to have to drag people along kicking and screaming to understand this, and only with time will they understand it. And I'm not being negative about GameStop at all. I'm saying that the people pushing this rockets tomorrow nonsense are the ones that are going to be regretting their content in the next year or two, unless Ryan Cohen comes out with an acquisition. Artificial Instinct says, how confident am I in the deal of a century? I mean, that's why I call GameStop a speculative trade. I have no way of knowing what kind of deal he's going to find. It sounds like he's got a very particular set of criteria, which is fine. Maximize the risk to reward ratio. But what's the timeline that you got to wait on for that to happen? Do we need a market crash? Do we need other companies to get marked down so that you can come in and snatch one up? How long do we got to wait for that? I don't know. There's no pressure for me. I'm trying to be very intelligent about patient, reasonable, low price entries. You can see my buy down here at 2161, and even that, you know, I could get wrecked on this price if there were a market crash. I am not here to tell you that GameStop is going to hold at these levels. If the market crashes 20 or 30%, I will be in the red on my position. I have no doubt. But you know, that's part of being a trader. There's really nowhere you can hide if there's a market crash. I'm not going to blame GameStop for that. I will. That's the breaks. That is the breaks, you know, of investing in stocks. When the market crashes, everything crashes. Chris says, I sold out of Wendy's and bought Beyond. Let's see what Beyond's doing. I did buy some Beyond. For those of you that are interested in wondering what the heck just happened. Did I closed that damn thing? Let's put Beyond up here. I'm not recommending Beyond to you. I'm probably not going to be making any videos about it. It's just a day trade, little fun swing trade. We were talking about it this weekend. If you missed that, I gave you my general thesis about what could happen with Beyond this week, and I did buy some, and it has been going up. Come on, you freaking weeble. Freaking lag nonsense. Amazon, can you get your shit fixed? There we go. Ooh, $1.50. Look at this. I love it. I love it. Congrats to any of y'all who took that trade. It was a little risky, but not too risky, I think. You know, down here 50, 60 cents. Most of the risk was baked in, and we knew the hype was going to be hot about the short squeeze and the high short interest. So let's go. Kenneth says AMC's dark pool volume is over 82%. What's going on? You know, I don't know. I have found that paying attention to dark pool volume or short volume, I paid attention to it for years, Kenneth. I found that paying attention to it improved my trades 0%. So I don't even look at it anymore. It's a social media talking point. I pay attention to things that will improve my trades. There's only a couple things that you need to pay attention to on AMC. What's the box office? What is the expected revenue? What is the expected free cash flow? And what is going to happen with the vote? Those are the only things you need to worry about right now. All this other nonsense is a distraction. Those four things in the next 90 days will have more impact on your AMC position than anything else anybody is talking about. And they will not talk about these things. Box office Q3 is going to be a hurt. Box office Q4 starting to look a little weaker than we wanted. Cash burn. I think Q4 still has a chance of being free cash flow positive, but that Piper will come to, you know, that bill would need to be paid in Q1. But more importantly, you know, people are blocking me because I'm talking about the vote. You better be paying attention. I know I lost thousands of you back in 2023 when I told you what was going to happen. And it went exactly like we told you it would go, with the vote and then the dilution and then the collapse of the price. And I'm getting blocked again by people now for sharing what I think is going to happen. But I don't think we're going to be wrong. And so, unfortunately, Kenneth, I don't pay attention to dark pool volume. It is irrelevant to everything else that is important with AMC: box office, cash flow, and the upcoming vote. Those are the only things you need to care about. Because let's say you're right that they're manipulating it in the dark pool, you got to ask yourself why. And I will refer back to my 3 or 4 things. The why of everything is related to the vote, the upcoming dilution, the upcoming loss on Q3, and perhaps Q4 being weaker than we thought. That is the why to everything that is happening. So you better buckle in and understand that. And there are people that are really mad at me for saying that, but that is my honest opinion. I don't care how you trade it. I exited my position in November. I don't short stocks. I have no options plays on AMC. I'm waiting for a good entry, but there's a lot of risk. I got to see what happens with this vote and what these mother effers that are pushing the price down plan to do. How far are they going to push it down? I don't know. You can see my sell was back here. People told me I was crazy to sell at 434 in November. Tony, you just don't understand. You don't understand the sector rotation going on right now. You don't understand the box office. Come on, man. I look at this stock every single day. I probably understand it better than 90% of these yahoos talking about it out there. We have been more right on more stuff with this stock. And yeah, I've been sitting out for a year. It's frustrating. I'm an A-list member. I go to a lot of movies. We spent, I don't know, we went to 2 movies this weekend. I know we spent $60 on concessions on Saturday, spent money on Friday too, Thursday, whatever day I saw that other movie. We spend a lot of money at AMC, but I don't own the stock. It's too risky for me right now. I think there'll be a better buy-in opportunity very soon. I could be wrong. Don't follow, make up your own minds. Not going to hurt my feelings if you have a different opinion. I'm just here talking about what I see and what I think. Marilyn Mom says, I think the yes vote will prevail. I have no reason to believe that it won't, Marilyn. Mom, I don't care how y'all vote. I'm not giving you voting instructions. I think that with the amount of institutional votes that it probably likely will pass, but unfortunately there's no good outcome for anybody that's holding into that vote. There might be a good outcome for people that buy after the vote. I'm not convinced there's a good outcome for holding into the vote, because there's going to be dilution right after that, at least at a minimum to the exchangeable note holders. And I can't say about any other dilution. We'll have to see what is the cash burn in Q3. How does Q4 shape up? I can't see in the future yet about liquidity dilution. I'm not talking about that. There will be some shares issued immediately to exchangeable note holders at a considerable discount once that vote passes. No one wants to talk about it. Just block Tony. We can't allow any of this real discussion. Man, I wish these AMC content people that are blocking me would come have a real discussion on my channel. The invitation's always open. You only want to focus on 2027 box office. You don't want anyone to talk about a vote that's in 60 days. It is amazing to me, and people, thousands of them, great content. Love your optimism. Hey, I'm optimistic about 2027 box office too, but I'm also worried about what's going to happen in 60 days. And I'm tired of seeing y'all lose money. Kenneth says, are the exchangeable notes and dilution already priced in? Maybe, Kenneth. I mean, the known dilution, right? We know the exchangeable notes. We know what's coming. I think that's a fair debate. I don't know that I have the perfect answer because the vote hasn't happened yet, Kenneth. but the market knows it's coming and they're not stupid. So yeah, I could argue both ways. I could argue, yeah, that part is already priced in. Perhaps. So then the discussion falls to really what I was saying. You guys need to really pay attention to Q3 results and Q4 box office. Because if Q4 doesn't shape up to be as good as we hoped, and I spent all morning readjusting my Q4 forecast, if it doesn't turn out to be as enormous as we hoped, and we have another cash burn in Q4, I mean, then you're immediately talking liquidity dilution. I mean, you should be hyper-focused on box office. And by hyper-focused, I don't mean only listen to people that are telling you it's going to be a $3 billion quarter. Mathis says, why has the volume been so high since the reverse split? Isn't that a good thing? What are we talking about, Mathis? Are we talking about Highcroft? Yes, Sly. Yeah, you are correct. No dilution for 6 months per the refinancing. Thank you for the reminder on that. That's Mike, right? Sly is Mike. Thank you for the reminder. There is no dilution after the vote for 6 months, subject to a couple of exceptions. There is a little provision where the company could sell, what is it, 50 million shares or $50 million. Just a drop in the bucket, really. A very minor amount of potential dilution, unless the price runs up and then some of the shackles come off. So yeah, maybe I'm getting angry and paranoid too much. I just think that the unhinged optimism needs to be maybe dialed back a couple notches. All I'm seeing is unhinged. No real discussion about what's about to happen. There is discussion, it's not real discussion. Patrick says, do you think there is any truth to price manipulation and synthetic shorts? I mean, synthetic positions are a real thing. We could go create one with derivatives options right now. We can create a synthetic share. Very easy to be done. It's a standard market practice. You can look up, I have a video how to create a synthetic share. You can find it on Investopedia. It's absolutely a real thing. It's not a fake share. It's a synthetic share. Now, you know, some of these dum-dums back in 2021 heard the word synthetic share and they don't understand what it means, and they've turned it into a whole different thing. There are also rehypothecated shares. I believe that's a real thing. And there are swaps, which are ways to get short exposure outside of the standard float. There's all sorts of ways they could be short these tickers. Yes, Patrick, all of that is real thing. Is it what some of these guys are telling you, that the float's been sold over 3, 4, 5 times? That is not a basis of any of my content. I think much more important to understand the things that we talked about. Cash flow, revenue, and corporate actions. That's going to define the success or the failure of your trading strategy. Now, would I take a miracle that some government agency decided to finally get off their ass and go prosecute somebody doing something illegal? Sure, I'd take the miracle, but it's not the cornerstone of my content or my trading strategy. It's just something that I know is out there, but I don't count on it. I count on tangible data, and that has worked out very well. Dink, how you doing? Zachary says they can dilute 25 million. Thank you for the update, Zachary. I forgot the exact number. I'm spending a lot of time this week really trying to, you know how I like to do my DD, think about every possible way that these institutions could be gaming this trade right now, knowing what they know is coming. You know it's coming, I know it's coming, they know it's coming. A vote. More exchangeable notes, getting shares. 79 million shares in their hands at $1.79 in July. Do they hold those into December? Or is that why the price has been under pressure since the end of July? Because they're dumping the shares into any run-up. I mean, and what are their strategies for trading AMC, knowing what is coming? I'm trying to do multi-threaded, think of every possible way, and I'm not smart enough to think of every way that an ARB fund or a institution or a bondholder could be gaming this, but I guarantee you it's worth the exercise to think about it. No one else is thinking about it. They'll tell you the bondholders are fully aligned with you. I say horse shit to that. Institutions see a heck of a deal here ahead of Q4. I say bullshit to that. You don't know what they're thinking. Quit thinking they think like you. They will come in when the time is right. When do you know when the time is right? When box office is overwhelmingly good, when there's no more cash burn, when the company doesn't need to dilute for liquidity. That's when the time is right. That's what I'm aiming for. If I've got it's a moving target for me. I'd like to come in and buy at the absolute bottom. And I will be as patient as long as I need to be. But this unbridled optimism over the next 60 days is really annoying. Andrew, let's go. Yes, I bought some Beyond, Andrew. I'm very happy with that trade today. Congrats to any of you that listened to our little weekend conversation. Zachary says, if I was them, I would either run the price up or down to try and get more no votes, but that's my tinfoil. I don't think they're going to get a majority of no votes. There will definitely be people that vote no, and I definitely understand why. And I don't care how you vote. And I don't have any instructions for you. There will be people that vote no, but I think the yes vote will carry the day. So that's how I'm kind of, I don't even want to contemplate the outcome for AMC. If a no vote wins, would be disaster in my opinion. Same thing I said in 2023. That doesn't change. The company's short on cash, and you cut off their ability to raise more cash and you increase their interest rates. How do you think that's going to go if the no vote wins? I'd fold my tent up and pack up if I was Adam Aaron. Tell the bondholders, I'll see you in court. But I'm not saying the yes vote is a panacea either. Like, there's really no good outcome. At least with the yes vote, that you give them a chance into a better box office next year in 2027. And you pray that the movies are there and they don't need to dilute for liquidity. That's a reasonable prayer. It could happen. Kangaroo says the people on Twitter and Reddit say no vote is the ideal. I get it. I mean, they don't like dilution. But they also have never one time given you a breakdown of a cash flow statement or a balance sheet. I see these dum-dums saying, AMC had a record popcorn sales on Friday. I don't understand why the price is going down. The FBI sees it. The DOJ sees it. Those popcorn sales, Adam Aaron said, was the highest Wednesday popcorn sales in the company's history. Why is the price going down? Look, one movie, one day of concessions doesn't make a quarter. What is the cash burn? How much cash is left? At what point of cash do the bondholders force the company into court? You're not that far off. One bad quarter, maybe. So I don't care what these goofballs on Twitter and Reddit say. If the vote doesn't go AMC's way, they are in a very precarious, desperate position, in my opinion. Zachary says, voting no is vote for bankruptcy. If you have any doubt about that, Zachary, I agree with you. If you have any doubt, I would refer you to MMAT. What happened when shareholders voted to cut off the company's ability to raise cash? A couple months later, they filed Chapter 11. Psh, psh. When you don't have your shareholders support, what else can you do? What else can you do? It's going to be interesting. I bought a few shares just so I could vote, but I'm very hesitant to put any significant money on the line with that possibility. Oh man, I think it would be devastating. And again, I'm not saying the yes vote is an optimal outcome either. It's like you got two bad choices. You got a shitty choice and you got a bad choice, but at least you got more time to play the game. And we think 2026 and 2027 are going to be better. Dave says, what sort of cash burn are you expecting in Q3? I'm thinking, Dave, a couple $100 million. But the company also raised a little bit of cash in July with that bond restructuring. So I don't know what the net is going to be. It'd be ideal if they could hold steady around 400 million. And then I think it will be, I'd say there's a very strong possibility that Q4 will be cash flow positive because you're going to have huge sales, huge revenues, and you won't need to pay the studios till Q1. So it's going to look really, really good on Q4 in terms of cash flow. But then, just like what happened 12 months ago, that bill will have to be paid in Q1. So just like happened a year ago, everybody's going to be like, we told you that we've been telling you for a year Q4 was cash flow positive. They're going to be patting themselves on the back as they're about to walk off a cliff in Q1 when the bill's got to be paid, the accounts payable. It's going to happen. Mark my words. That's why these people are already blocking me. I told you it was going to be free cash flow positive Q4. They're already blocking me. They don't want to hear it. Q1, you watch. It will be, I think Q4 will be cash flow positive. But watch that accounts payable. Mike says the 8 vote was overwhelmingly positive when removing hedge funds. Very likely it will be yes again. I'd say almost certain, Mike, that the yes vote will pass. That if I had to gamble on how the vote would go, I'd put my money on it'll be a pass. And I'm not trying to sway your vote. Nobody. I don't want to hear that nonsense. I'm just like, hey, we can all guess how the vote's going to go. That's fine. You can still vote no. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Zachary says the cash raise went to debt are you talking in July? The restructuring? If we're talking July, the main purpose of July, and it was beautiful, they pushed all the debt to 2029. That is huge. Almost all the debt's been pushed to 2029, 2030. That takes off any immediate risk of the bondholders getting defaulted on. Now you only have to worry about liquidity. How much cash does the company have? and into better box office 2026, 2027, if that holds true, then maybe liquidity is not a concern. We're optimistic, but I don't have a perfect crystal ball. And again, when we're talking about a year, 2026 is going to be great. I haven't done a quarter by quarter breakdown yet. I don't know if is Q1 going to be bad and Q2 and 4 are the blockbuster. I don't know yet. I haven't even looked that far ahead. But I will before Q4 ends. They do owe a little in 2027, right? Is that the Odeon bonds, Dink? I think those bonds have a higher credit rating. They could probably easily refinance and push those out if they need to. For those of you that are down, I feel your pain. I mean, I talk with people every single day, including in my Discord. Some of them did nothing back in 2023. They just said, I'm too scared to do anything. I'm just going to take my chances. And now they're down another 80% from that reverse split combination. I get it. And I took a lot of grief back then for exiting and then buying back in when it's cheap. But I think that if you truly want to remain invested in this company and you really are spending time understanding box office, the cycles of how each quarter goes, and cash flow, you can make some reasonable entries and exits. But it will require you to make some entries and exits. I will let you know when I make my next entry. I don't know if I'll get it perfect. Many say I'm being too pessimistic and I'm going to miss the run up. Yeah, it takes me 5 seconds to hit a buy button and join a run up. Right now, the risk is outweighing my desire to punch the buy button out of fear of missing something. John says, can we talk some more about Ryan's interview? Yeah, let's shift to GameStop. I don't want to derail this whole GameStop Ryan Cohen thing talking about AMC. We'll have an AMC live stream coming up. Maybe I was trying to decide, should I do a video now or wait till October closes out? Maybe we'll wait till October closes out. Ryan Cohen, he went into a lot of corners that I was not expecting. Jewelry, AI, politics, even spoke out against games like Call of Duty, which I let my kids, I have 2 boys, I let them play Call of Duty. I'd play it with them, but I wouldn't let them play it if I was worried about their mental stability. You got to know your kids and also have age limits within reason where are they mature enough to play a game like that? But for the CEO of a gaming company to be talking bad about games, I thought was kind of in poor form. I mean, Ryan, there's some things it's fine to have that personal belief. Maybe as the head honcho of the company, you shouldn't be saying it out loud. I don't know. Zachary, I've been a moviegoer long before I invested in AMC, and I will continue being an AMC A-list member and frequent moviegoer. Nothing is going to change that. It's the least we can do is go see movies and buy some popcorn. Anya says, I assumed he was talking about young kids. Yeah, parents, don't let your young kids play games that are rated mature. That's just bad parenting. You wonder, I do think that some of these games, getting in the hands of impressionable minds, maybe mentally unstable kids, or in bad family situations, does lead to some of these school shootings. So I don't necessarily disagree with what Ryan Cohen said about Call of Duty. I just think he's not the right person to be saying that. as the head of a gaming company. They got into a lot of talk about Chewy, and I'm going to just wrap up the GameStop Ryan Cohen conversation by talking again about what he said about Keith Gill. He wants investors that are not day trading this thing. I guess it sounded to me like he believes Keith Gill is trading the stock. He wants you there for decades. He wants you to believe in the company for the long term. And I think the reason he's trying to subtly communicate, you got to let go of this MOAS theory and buckle in for the long ride, because he's hyper focused on efficiency, cost cutting, bringing high margin products to the consumer, and making sure he's got a stable company with plenty of cash until he finds the right deal to transition the company. And there's no timeline for that, so you better be patient. And I hope that some of the GameStop people are listening, the GameStop YouTubers, content creators, social media accounts. You need to quit with this nonsense about rockets tomorrow on every other frickin' thumbnail. It's really doing a disservice to people. Because what happens? People get frustrated, they get angry, they leave because you're not teaching them the right thing, which is get a good entry, be patient, understand the mission, and then as long as you got a good entry, just chill. But telling people there's going to be a warrant squeeze and to buy warrants, exercise your warrants now, all this dumb financial advice is really irritating to me. And the more I see these people do this stuff, and the rocket ship launch tomorrow thumbnails on their YouTube videos, the more I'm going to keep covering GameStop. So there is one sane person who's not bearish on the company. I was reviewing some of my videos from 2022, talking then about how I believed in Ryan Cohen. I'm going to put together a snippet video. All these people tell you I hate GameStop, I hate Ryan Cohen. They just lie so you don't listen to my channel. I have years of evidence out there about how I have been bullish on Ryan Cohen. I might judge where the stock price is going to go based on revenue trends or earnings expectations. That doesn't mean that I hate GameStop. That's just being a realist. And I have flipped from thinking that GameStop is only going down to they're in a really good position right now, but you better be patient. That's not me flipping on GameStop. I literally have years of videos being bullish on Ryan Cohen. But I'm not going to ignore falling revenues and losses and tell you keep buying, keep buying. These people that hate me were telling you to buy at $40 in 2022. 50, 60, 70. How high was it back then? $48. They were telling you. I was looking at some of my videos from July of 2022 when we were talking about the exactly what was going to happen with the split. And I was very bullish back then, even still back then on Ryan Cohen. And then what? I made a video that said GameStop's going down to $10. Does that mean I hate GameStop? No, that just means that I'm able to understand earnings, revenue, and what the chart's going to do. Like you guys, do you want real talk or do you want pumper talk? There are other channels where you can get the pumper bullshit. These GameStop YouTubers have become as bad as Bed Bath & Beyond YouTubers in my book. Just ridiculous content. No ability to look at things logically, unemotionally. They are purposely creating a cult, and they are unabashed about that. And that's fine. That's fine. But don't tell me what I believe about GameStop. Quit lying about my content. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is probably enough for today. Let's take a little break. I got to go spend some time with the wife before she heads off to work. Still working the overnight shift. So let's take a couple hours break. And what time is it? 3:46. Maybe we can reconvene in a few hours after we've had time to digest everything and come up with some more questions and watch Beyond keep on moving up. $1.47. Woo! Trade of the day right there. And yes, I did buy some if you're just tuning in. We bought it cheap and we're sitting pretty. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's go out on this live stream with a little bit of up and to the right.
Up and to the right. Up and to the right. Up and to the right.
Hello, millionaires. Short squeeze plays where fortunes flip. Gamestop's journey, an epic trip. From humble roofs to the moon we fly. A company's dream will amplify. Ready warriors, keyboards in hand. With their eyes on the prize, they took a stand. No one's selling, we're here to fight. How does it go? Up and to the right. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It's up on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, alas is in sight. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It's up on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, molasses in sight. Hedge funds trembling, Kenny's in shock. Gamestop stock, you'll never stop. From diamond hands to rocket ships, we're not selling, we buy every dip. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. Up and to the right, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Up and to the right, molasses in sight. Billions in cash on the balance sheet. We will win even if they cheat. Dilute us more, we don't care. Value grows with every share. The doubters say it can't be done, but the retail army we've already won. With every share we'll never stop. Investors say we love the stock. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It's up on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar. Up and to the right. Up and to the right. We're in for the ride. Together we'll soar. Up and to the right.
Surprise!
We're gonna win.